J period O asterisk explicit star dreaming in the storm. I am that guy that you have tuned in with. I'm glad that you have. I'm glad you're here. We're gonna speak about hip hop, the hip opposition, the hip hop oppressor. Hip hop that has turned 50 years old recently. And I just gotta know, has it really helped anyone? And then this is not to say that music is supposed to do anything besides entertain us. It's not to say that we're supposed to look to people to be our guide, our dad, our mother. It's not that. But as artists, we cannot say that we don't get involved with putting out music, putting out pictures, getting on YouTube for it to fall on deaf ears, for it not to be seen. That's why we do it. Artists want to be heard, artists want to be seen. But now the problem is the idolatry, the the poison that comes out of this thing that we call art. I believe it's art. Hip hop is certainly art, but it's self worship and self proclamation. Now, with African Bambaataa being credited as Africa Bambaataa being credited as the godfather of hip hop, pay attention to that, where his origins come from and his whole style and everything. He was doing it's about ancestors. It's about uh, worshiping yourself as God, black men being God, black women being gods of the earth. All of those things that remove away, of course, what we say, the white man's religion. So shout out to Unplugged. That's where it's been getting my sources from the last 10 years. Check out Unplugged for all of your taboo subjects that people do not want to talk about. And for us to remove away the white oppressing God, we then bring in ourselves. I have no problem with anybody believing in themselves and not believing in Jesus Christ. That's not for me to deal with you. Um, you have to deal with that on your own. But what I will deal with is how we have made excuses for 50 years about hip hop being the culture, about hip hop being ours, about hip hop just living and loving hip hop. Well, hip hop had a chance to be ours, but it's not. I don't see no Chuck D's mentioned on with no record labels. I don't see any Flavor Flavs. I don't see the Big Daddy Kanes. I don't see any of them on the list of being $100 million, 100 millionaires. What's the point of that? What am I saying? What I'm saying is, if we were going to do something good with it, just like everything else that we've had, because nothing has been given to us, and anything that we get does get taken away. If we were going to do something positive with it and boast and brag about hip hop being ours, we should have never signed on to record labels. We should have figured out how within the communities to keep pushing it out just like we were doing with the mixing of the tapes, the mixtapes with the local show and put something together to where we had Pookie and Ray Ray records, where we had Tommy and Tommy and Dominique records, uh, where we had Project records. Okay, so now even though we got the Cash Monies, the No Limits, the Rap a Lots, there is still a main distributor in front of them, and that person is not black. The people that are going to eat off of hip hop for generations upon generations are not black. So that excuse is out the window. That is ours. It belongs to us. In what form or fashion? You can't even say what you want to say within the music because of who you work for. We can't. I don't want any smoke, so I'm not like the type that's, oh, you shouldn't say this, you shouldn't say that. That's not really the deal. What's going on here is an example of what it is to take accountability and responsibility and where it is that we have messed up. along this road. So I know I talk about Pookie and Ray Ray a lot in a negative aspect, but if Pookie and Ray Ray Records would have been started, what I'm saying is, at least then, for the guys in the ghetto, the bad baby daddies, those hustling guys, people that wouldn't have a chance any other time, at least we would have had some way for Pookie and Ray Ray to take care of their family if we all would have figured out a way to be a Columbia Records, an Arista Records, a Universal Records, instead of signing ourselves and our art form over to those companies. So it's also a very touching, it's a touchy subject being a Christian rapper. If you're going to be a Christian rapper, you can't be one that's trying to blend in. I have never really liked Christian rap. Um, I will listen to gangster rap and regular rap before I listen to much Christian rap. Reason being, it just sounds to me as though there are guys that didn't make it in the world specter and they still want to be like the world specter, but they say, I'm going to come over here because it's a little bit easier. And that's not to say these guys aren't genuine, some of them. So I'm never talking about everything I talk about is a generality. It's a social thing, it's what's general. There are always exceptions, and there's always the minors, or the minute, or the things that are smaller. So, to keep it simple, I'm going to be talking in generals often, all the time, basically. That's what it's about. So, in general, the hip hop artists that are gospel, gospel hip hop artists, I can even be, that's why I say I'm a gospel rapper. Because if I'm a hip hop gospel artist, that means I'm both. I'm combining hip hop culture with trying to present the gospel of Jesus Christ. And I don't understand how that would even mix. So if you're gonna be a Christian rapper, be original, um, be on the team of God, because we don't want to be lukewarm and be chewed up and spit out because it was a bad taste in God's mouth. Strive to preach Christ. So that means when you go in there to get your deal, you have to say, yeah, I'm going to say the name of Jesus. Yes, I'm going to be talking about the love of Christ. And no, I can't replace it with just saying God. No, I can't replace it by whatever else they try to come up with in order to say, hey, we really want to use you. And I think you got something here. We love your work. But can you tone it down a little bit with the love thing, with the Christ is love thing? Because we know Christ is an offense. If you know, like you know, and I'm gonna keep it where I said we know Christ is an offense. And Jesus Christ is an offense. Think about you mentioning the name of Jesus on a YouTube chat, on an Instagram live, and how many people, even if you're not addressing them, if it they here he goes with the fairy tale, here he goes with the fake God. And it's like, okay, well, if you believe it's fake, that's all right. But why are you so hostile behind it? Because these people that are Nation of Islam, that are Buddhists, that are, oh, what's the other stuff? Even New Age, they don't too much. Nobody really gets on them. And they certainly don't get on any of the Satanists. But if you say Jesus Christ, man, it's an offense and it hurts people's insides. The reason being is because their father is Satan. I'm going to contend. Most of the stuff I bring out is simple. The reason Jesus Christ is an offense to people is because Jesus Christ is not their brother, is not their master. Satan is their master. And that's whether you believe in Christ and the devil or not. If you don't, that means you believe in yourself, right? So we got Lucifer that was kicked out of heaven for having pride and wanting to be like God. That's where we get these. And if we know that the devil is the one that we base our bad decisions on, that we base decisions made to harm others, things like that, we should say like the devil made me do it. It's because we understand that the devil represents pride and represents being free and doing what it is that you would like to do, regardless of knowing that it's not the right thing to do. So yeah, man, if you're gonna be a Christian rapper, man, be a Christian rapper. but make sure it's Christian. Why are we trying to look like the others? What I think what the biggest problem I have with it is that what we praise hip hop for, getting out of poverty and having a new avenue to make money. We already gave it away, so we will never make. We'll make pennies compared to the dollars they make. And then, as much as we brag about how we made it out, the millions of people that's still in the ghetto listening to your music, their family is not going to make it out. But you're steady putting out and promoting poisonous ideas that will keep them getting looked at in a negative light and keep them where they are as far as being oppressed. It doesn't help elevate them in any way because they look at it and say, well, if you did it, I can do it. And you put this hope and this dream in someone that they're going to be the next NBA young boy, that they're going to be the next White Iverson, what that boy name? Post Malone, him that right there, the Kodak Yellow and all that, Kodak Black, whatever their names is. You know, them guys, the next rapper out the hood. We got a million of them wanting to do that, just like we got a million wanting to play ball. And this is so whether you like it or not, you influence. And as an artist, nobody gets into any type of artistry. I'm not on YouTube because I don't want nobody to listen to me. I don't record music because I don't want anybody to hear it. And I wouldn't be writing and playing in a movie if I didn't want somebody to come see me acting in that movie. So nobody can say, "Oh, I do it for the love. It's only for the love. I don't care if I never sell a record. I don't care if nobody hears my music." That could be true that you're having fun, but you still care and you still want someone to hear it. So with that, why not accept responsibility instead of saying, "Those are your kids. You're the parent. It's not my responsibility what your kid listens to." You know the kids are going to listen to you, and you hope that the kids are going to listen to you. And that is why you continue to say what you say, do what you do, and push it out there. You know it's going, and then you just want to put the mic in front of your face. Hey man, I ain't nobody's role model. I don't want nobody doing what I said I was doing in them songs, but man, I'm just telling the story, man. It's real out there, man. You know, I'm from the trenches, dog. I'm just spitting it how I live it. But I want y'all to be better. I want you to go to school. I want you to get your education. I want you to be better than me. But I got the money, so you ain't gonna be better than me because I'm begging all y'all women and your baby mama love me and my big chain. And check this out, that boy over there ain't got money like me. Yeah, yeah, but you really, really want, yeah, you care about them ones in the ghetto, right? Just 3 years ago, you were that same dusty dude fighting with the big ballers behind your baby. And that's all right, man. You know you got the top spot now. You the big dog now. Okay, go ahead and brag a little bit. The listeners, you ain't get me started on your listeners. You guys, I caught it. I was always a more of an R&B person and gospel growing up. But of course, pop culture, I'm going to end up switching to the hip hop because that's what the kids in school are listening to. So I started to love it. I started to enjoy it as well. But I tried to never let it influence me. And even with me being somewhat strong minded as far as influence goes and having my own mind, I still remember times with certain songs we come on when we're about to fight and get into it. If those songs are on, it went up 3 or 4 times worse. Well, suppose if I had on some Black Street or something in the background, I probably would have two-stepped my way off to the side and just said, "Man, I'm ignoring him today." But since I had on that touch, because I'm down for a bust him up, hit him in the cut. What? You ain't messing with my clip. That was one I said, "Man, let's go. What's happening? What we doing?" Yes, it influences you. And yes, and yes, the vibrations move through and influences in more than one way. So now that, oh man, hold on. It's natural. Oh, I think I'm trying to do it. Ain't nobody doing no AI, man. You can use natural. So that is it's not as simple as yeah, I'm not influencing anyone. You are influencing someone. So now you move up to year two, you're on album number two. I don't understand why the formula can't be set up. Like, all right, that's what I talked about. Even all right, let's go to number three. Second album, you got to keep your fan base. You have to do what you did to stay hot. Plus, as the artist, you know there's somebody behind you, hungry, waiting on you to slip anyway. So I don't really blame the artist for not wanting to change the culture and wanting to change what's put out and what's being said, because I know that the big wigs don't want it. And you could say looking too deep into it, it's not that serious. Well, uh, what's right in front of you would say otherwise. Because when we have positive rappers and people wanting to change the culture, wanting to change the things that we make mainstream, that doesn't get pushed. It's not about people buying it because people ain't buying music like that now, and we still seeing these people get paid. Man, so how is it not about poisoning people's mind, and how is it not about influencing the youth to be basically devil worshippers and end up either in prison or dead and create chaotic households? And that is what hip hop has done. That is what hip hop has created. So you hip hop artists have decided to help masses playing a lot of y'all are crack babies, not babies like that, but I'm saying 80s babies, you was in that struggle with a lot of y'all grew up the heroin struggle. So you decided to join in on the team for J. Edgar Hoover and say, hey, let me put my 2 cents in and destroy the community as well with these words because words have power. So while you watched your aunt, your mom, your dad struggle with crack addiction because life was beating them up or whatever, or they were too weak minded or they were strong minded but just ran out of fighting. They ran out of fighting, so they ran to crack. You watched it, and then yet still you might have jumped in the game because you needed to, and that was the only avenue you had to make money. Still, all right. So you take it a step further. Instead of just poisoning your community, now you're poisoning multiple communities. So you haven't changed the game because the big wigs don't want to change the game. But I thought you was big bad wolf. I thought you could nobody mess with you. I forgot. That's just if it looked like me, huh? When it looked like me, you down to get loud, you down to try to take my woman, you down to try to beat me up. You know, it's when I put me in it. I say try, but you try if you want to see what happens. If I'm just kidding. I can't. Yeah. But you want to do it with me, with my complexion. But you don't do that with the office execs that sign your check. None of us do that. None of us. And I'm not saying it's like it's supposed to be about no respect. We're not supposed to fight all silly stuff anyway. But I'm just mentioning the attitudes that we have towards each other and how much lack of respect we have for each other. I mean, on the flip side, we show the most utmost respect for the person with the badge, the person that signs our check, and for you rappers, the people that sign your deals and type up your deals. And I understand, but I'm just asking why not be real about it. So I'm more so talking about the consumers, and we have to demand something different. So I'm jumping ahead there, sticking on album 2 or 3, changing the process, changing the culture, changing the way that we approach create a hip hop album. If I were to elevate after my first deal, then what needs to be in place is now I talked about my rough upbringing, I talked about my childhood, I talked about how bad it is in the ghetto, in the ghetto. So now I got some bread now, right? This album number 3. I done made it through 3 albums. How in the world am I still talking about? Like, I don't have no sunny information. I don't have no uplifting music. I don't have nothing good to say about my life now that it has transformed for the last 5 years. I'm on album 3. That means you've been doing it 5 years if you got 3 albums. Like the first album, you might not have made that much money, but you got your foot in the door. Second album, that's the reverse money, you're recouping the money from the first, second album you tour, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, third album, and you done did something right. So now you got a decision to make. You gonna keep doing what got you there, or you gonna do what's real? I no longer have to struggle. I'm sitting on a bed that's King, California King, and I got 6 bedrooms in my house. My mother living well. That's what I want. Oh man, I'm happy to see my kids, and I got a fine baby mama. We might get married one day. Oh yeah. How about them sunny days? Oh yeah. How about them sunny days? Something like that. No, you gotta keep it. Oh, I don't like the op. He had my corn pop, so I went up on him, told him he better stop before I lift my shirt up. And it's gonna be a problem. You don't want no problem, and it's still real. And I'm still in the hood every day, slanging this like that there. Man, you gonna keep it simple, huh? You gotta keep it simple. Well, then you keeping it simple. That tells us that you are not concerned with us. When you say that you love us, when you say you do it for us, stop saying you do it for us. Be real. Hey, I understand the kids are listening to it. I was one of those kids listening to it. That's where I got the idea. Unfortunately, everybody's not gonna make it. So since everybody's not gonna make it into this, I would really like you all to focus on school, yada 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 yada, all the positive stuff. You can say that, but you really can't say that in front of the mic because that's still going against what it is that hip hop is: the love of self, the worship of self, the admiration of self, removal of the oppressing religion to make it about the religion of ancestral worship and again worship of self. So are you that absorbed and are we so diluted as people that we cannot tell that the same play has been being ran on us over and over to get our minds, to get us to stay thinking that it's all about popping mollies on the weekend and getting our income tax check and balling out for 2 months and then being back broke and back depressed, waiting on Lil Durk and them to drop that next tape because you need something to uplift you and you need somebody you can relate to and live vicariously through and say, okay, they made it, I got hope still. No, man, you're 25. You're 25 years old. You're not going to do it. Even if you don't give up on rapping, right? You think you're gonna be the next little dirt, the next little fizzy fazzy. You think you're gonna be that, and you're 25 years old with 2 kids, and you're still not working. There's a problem. You can pursue your dream, sir, but go work at the warehouse. Go get a regular job. It's gonna be harder. No, you can't focus on it full time, but that's what happens when you do grown up activities with another grown up and produce a baby. You have to put away some of the things you want part time and focus on what's most important. That's what I'm talking about. Why hip hop is the op, why it's the oppressor, and why it's the opposition. It is the oppressor because it's been selling us a false dream for 50 years, really 40 years when we start making money. That we could do it ourselves, that there's if I did it, you can do it. And it's the opposition because it is continuing to put out things and talk down to us. You only feel validated if you get the chain. You only feel validated if you get the big car, the fancy car. You only feel validated if you got a woman with a BBL and she has 2 friends with BBLs that hang out with you and do whatever you would like them to, all for the coin. I don't think many of you understand you can have what rich people have at your level. You can have 2 or 3 women in your neighborhood or in your city that like you if you deal with them on your level. You might not get away with as much. You're not gonna get away with as much. But if that's your desire, you can do it. You might not be able to get that C-class Benz, E-class Benz, I apologize. But one day maybe you can afford it, a C-class. Okay? So in the meantime, what are you doing to get it? We're going to keep trying to become the next little fizz and live this fantasy life for a few years until that money runs out and you had no plan of anything to do with that money. You had one hit that made it on Instagram and YouTube for a good 6 months, got the money from it, blew up. Okay, now what? What if your next hit don't blow up? Then what? You might as well just stay where you was at. Just say, I mean, I balled for a minute. I balled till I fall. You did. So yeah, that's the gist of it, man. Try to keep it sweet and simple. The hip hop artists do have a responsibility to us in the community because they are eating from us. The hip hop community should consider what our children are going through and what we are going through, and try to change the subject matter for the future and for a larger scale, change the mainstream because of vibrations, because of spirits and principalities, because again, remove spirits and principalities. We know that words have meaning and words have power. So if you know these things, you cannot say with a straight face or say in clear conscience that what I say does not affect me. Yes, it does. And instead of talking about I can take your woman, I could be daddy in your house when you ain't there, I'm on your couch, all this. And that's cool. That's cool if it was just sport. That's what I'm saying. I left it alone for years because I said, okay, it's not their responsibility and it's just sport. You're as a man, you talk trash. As a man, you do feel like, hey, nobody's messing with me, and I'm gonna do what I need to do as a man to be the top dog. That's why I didn't see anything wrong with it. But then when I got around people my age, when I was a teenager and a little kid, I said, man, they really believe this stuff. They're like, man, they really. I'm like, hey, they just rapping, right? You know this. No, I'm gonna be just like you. This is crazy. So the Christian rappers, the so-called Christian rappers, but I'm not knocking your hustle either. It's not a diss to you that you couldn't make it on the mainstream side with real hip hop. But if you saying you at least attempt to talk about Christ and attempt to really put out some gospel, why do you need a feature from a worldly artist when your goal is to promote the gospel? So that you can cross over? If everything is in God's plan and in God's timing, you will hit your break when you hit it. And you're asking someone to come on record with you that has a totally different formula for making music than you make. My formula for making music or my writing is not to sit down, smoke blunts, take lean, do mollies. I try to be as clear minded as I possibly can because of what I'm dealing with the subject. I'm talking about the king. I'm talking about trying to inspire people. I'm talking about being better than I was yesterday. So I bring on, let's say a real name here. I bring on Lil Wayne. What is he gonna talk about besides popping Molly? No, he don't like Molly. Really like lean, doing lean, and everything else Lil Wayne talks about, right? But he for 8 bars he decided today I'm not gonna talk about none of that. So really the only thing he can say is I'm glad that the sky is blue. You gotta thank God that even though the sky is blue, my bandana red, but I still got love for all my people around the world. And after this, I know when I wake up tomorrow, Jesus is king and God is king. Yeah. It's always something corny when they do. It's whack. It's corny because the spirit ain't in them. They can't work it. I'm not saying they don't believe in Christ. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying you. I'm saying we are exercising false. It's fake. Okay, it's fake. It is fake. It's fake. It's fake. So as a Christian rapper, You think you're doing something with helping the community by crossing over, because some of you might have good intentions, some of you, but it's not, because all that's going to do is get, if you had a fan, if you were a Christian rapper and you have a fan that's a little girl, and she said, you know, I don't need any of that worldly music. I don't need to listen to that because I like J.O. music so much that I'm gonna jam J.O. and I don't even need to listen to Chief Keef and them. So right, or whoever's on mainstream. Say they don't really know about it. Their parents don't let them listen to it because they found me. They like me. Cool, that's what's up. But I decided to go ahead and say, hey Chief, man, I really dig your music though. I don't rap like you. You don't rap like me. Let's do something together and bring our two worlds together, right? Now she's introduced to Chief Keef. And then she listens to a song with Chief Keef. Chief Keef got a song with Nicki Minaj. And now she's introduced to Nicki Minaj. Now we get this rabbit hole and she leaves behind old J.O. and he's praising God and talking about what God has brought him through, et cetera, et cetera. And she's over here talking about, I want to be a city girl because that's what everyone else is doing. So she would have ran into it anyway. She would have ran into it anyway. But I wouldn't have been the one to introduce her to it. To whom much is given, much is required. You cannot serve two masters, for you will love one or hate the other. Cannot be hot and cold, because I'll chew you up and spit you out because you look well. Choose what you're going to do and be satisfied with it. That's for the Christian rappers. For us, the consumers, people like myself that enjoy hip hop music, the rest of us that feel them stories from DMX, from Jay Z that touches us, to say, man, you know what? If I could make it out today, I would. And I remember before I made it out. All those good things that we look at for hip hop. What do we need to do? Well, we got to be real and recognize that there's also a lot of bad that come in hip hop. A lot of people that don't have aspirations because they sit around doing what hip hop artists say. Don't put it in. We don't consume it. I do still listen to it, but check it out. I'm not going to listen to it all day, and I only listen to it if I get tired of hearing what I'm hearing on YouTube, and because I don't like gospel music, and because it was a part of my life at one time, but yet and still, I don't. I make sure that I'm like praying. I make sure that I'm like not bumping it day after day after day, and I made sure when I noticed that I was very, very in a very, very good mood and a high. Uh, I messed up because I looked at the clock, but so I lost my train of thought with that. But when I have been listening to aggressive music for the last 3 days, when I start out my week and I'm usually happy talking to people, hey, how you doing? What's up with you? All right, now stay up. And then now I'm out here like, well, what you looking at? And then I don't even know you. What's happening? What's up? What you trying to do? What up, cub? What up, blood? And I'm like, oh, that ain't how I felt 2 days ago. And nothing really has changed. Nothing bad is going on. You know what I mean? I'm not having a bad day. So what's happening? Man, them demons, them demons on these records, them demons on the TV screen, them demons on your phone. The demons are twerking in your face. The demons are telling you to go out and drill on somebody if they disrespect you. They're telling you that you need to do so much to make money and be accepted in this world. But the same things on that television, on that phone, you can get info from God as well. So it's just what are we gonna feed? It's easier to get the other stuff because Satan is busy. Satan is very busy. We have to demand better movies, better entertainment. We have to demand better music by not buying it, by not listening. And that's hard. How you not gonna listen to it? But we like everything else we doing with dreaming in the storm. We have to start somewhere. I don't care if it's 5 people. There's 5 million people. Like I said earlier, I am doing this to be heard. But if it's 2 people listening, oh, here, I got the blood. 2 people listening, I'll keep doing it. I'll keep doing it because them two will go into their household and repeat something that they heard from me, and then get in touch with a better version of themselves. And then it spreads and it spreads and it spreads. Will it be discouraging if I never get 1,000 people to listen to me? Maybe, but at the same time, I don't expect them to because of I don't have an expectation because I'm not talking about like really popular things. But I am talking about real things. And the devil is working very hard to keep pushing out to make certain things social and popular. So we have to try harder if we want to do things with God and things that are right and things that are just. That's the hard thing to do. And so we have to demand better things and stop supporting. Flat out, I battled with that for years because I did not want to say don't support hip hop, don't support other people, because that's not my job, man. I'm old school. As a man, I feel like I'm supposed to mind my business and you mind your business as long as it don't affect me. But that's the thing right there. It does affect me. So I kind of knew I was going to have to choose a side and run with it because it's like it's you against me. It's really not you against me, but we talking about two different things. So that's real, man. Demand something different, and because I want you to take anything better things into yourself. Listen to it. It's gonna take time. So I don't like gospel music. I don't like gospel music. I don't. But I'd rather. I know most of you do because you spent with your grandparents, with your favorite aunt that used to get you to go to church. You like gospel music, so you tell me you could put something in your rotation to that's different, that's not so aggressive. And for the record, I focus on black people and I focus on hip hop because that's our culture. But heavy metal is just as bad. Rock and roll is just as bad. Um, just like we call women bad bees, they call women sluts and whores. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't just don't ever be like, oh, it's just them over there. But I'm gonna tell you what, it's magnified when it's us. It's a bigger deal when it's us because whatever we do get blown out of proportion times 5, 15, 20. They can do that and have a wild night and then go back to being who they was the next day. We have one slip up. We're not living it down for quite some time. And it could cost us everything. Be wise as serpents, as harmless as doves. I know this was different than what I have presented to you previously. And as I say, it's going to continue to be like this. I'm going to touch on things that are different. What's on my heart, what's on my mind, and how can it assist you? What's the solution to it? The solution: we stop consuming poison. We stop taking poison into our minds. If you do not believe in God, believe in believe in vibrations and believe in moods. Negative aggressive music does cause negative aggressive moods, especially if you're not in the right mind frame or headspace at the time of listening to it. Hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day. Thank you for hanging out with me. This is J. Period O asterisk the explicit star. I'm dreaming in a storm. You cruising with me. I'm cruising with you. I'll check up with you next time. Indeed. Stay up now. All right.